What's going on, y'all? Psych Perspectives, giofvcks. This is a video response to Chloe. Chloe has a YouTube channel in which she basically discuss hypergamy, relationships, self-esteem, mental health, and especially within the Black community when it comes to Black women dating, marrying men of high standard, and practicing hypergamy. Now, disclaimer, I'm trans masculine, FTM, female to male, born intersex, trans man. I personally I'm not in the whole hypergamy, but I understand hypergamy and I do appreciate it. And this is a response to one of Chloe's videos. Chloe had made a video basically in the question at the end of the video, and I will leave a link in the description box below so you can check out her video and her channel. The question towards the end of the video, she asked basically, why do you think, particularly for Black women, why do you think Black women have been discouraged from being in relationships where the man is the protector, the provider, and why is it that so many Black women are basically being told that they have to be the providers, they have to protect, they have to defend, they have to bring home the bacon? So I just wanted to put my 2 cents in the mix. And again, like I said earlier, the disclaimer. So again, so let's get into this. Me personally, when I look back at what I've seen in my 27 and a half years in the Black community and the Black family, is I do not recall many women being stay-at-home mothers. And then if we look throughout history, collectively speaking, Black women have never really been able to benefit from being women. They haven't. You feel me? Because even going back 400 years ago at the beginning of the slave trade, Black women were in the fields right along with the Black men. They were getting their asses beat right along with the Black men. They were being hung from trees right along with the Black men. Okay? And then to add insult to injury, they were being sexually assaulted, raped, and abused, and forced to basically be a breeder for all of these children so slave owners could sell the children. So historically speaking, when it comes to femininity, Black women have never really been able to benefit from femininity, period. Okay? So, I mean, gosh, this is well documented in history, So fast forward to us being emancipated from slavery, being freed from bondage. There were a lot of women who were like, okay, we want to be able to be women. We don't want to be out here in the fields. We don't want to be doing physical labor. We don't want to be, expected to provide and protect, if that's supposed to be the man's job. Now, again, y'all know me. All of this is socially constructed, right? Because depending on what culture you're in, gender roles change depending on race, ethnicity, culture, class, education, etc., religion, etc. They change. So as long as we're talking about white supremacist power structures in a European-based society, basically based off Victorian age gender roles, if that's going to be our framework, men under this framework are supposed to be what? Protectors. Again, looking back at Black folks, the past 400 years, not much protecting going on when it comes to Black men protecting the Black family. It is what it is. Now, are there Black men throughout history that have died for their families? Yes. That literally put their life on their line for their families? Yes. But collectively, it's kind of obvious that's not the case, because if that was the case, why were you in slavery for 400 fucking years? Let's just be real. Better yet, how in the hell did you get enslaved in your own damn continent somewhere down the line, you had black men that wasn't defending and protecting. It's obvious, okay? Then fast forward to today, look at your families, look at your neighborhoods, look at your communities. It's obvious you're not protecting and you're not providing. Now, at the same time, you got to look at all the systemic issues. How is someone going to be able to provide for you when they are being discriminated against because of their skin color? You can't get decent paying jobs. You can't get, so you have these systemic issues. This isn't to justify the lack of men in our communities stepping up to the plate to provide and protect. So what has ended up happening since day one, since we got over here, black women have truly been the counterpart of the black man. Because oftentimes when you look at our families, black women are the ones not only providing, bringing home the bacon, putting a roof over your head, but they're also the ones feeding you. They're also the one, giving you hugs and giving you kisses and helping you throughout life, where the black man, not to say that he isn't there, because these, individually speaking, everyone has different experiences. But if we're speaking on a collective scale, it's kind of obvious. Like, where are the black men? Like, where are you? Where are you? Because collectively speaking, our community should be a lot better if we actually had you providing and protecting. And if black women had the option to actually just be a mom, stay at home, cook and clean. Or you don't even have those options. And I'm not saying, again, feminism and womanism and everyone, again, I get it. To me personally, a lot of these gender roles are oppressive and not necessarily beneficial. But if we're going to talk about it from where Chloe video, when that question was posed, I get where you're coming from. Because like I said, when I look at my family, Granny worked. This myth that she was able to sit at home and just be a mother. No, she had a full-time career as a nurse, a medical professional, and worked and still had children to take care of. My grandfather, he was at home with the kids, and again, he did cook and do things here and there, and he was there financially. But again, overwhelmingly, the idea that women must have their own is also, not only do I feel like it creates that mule agenda that Chloe talks about, but it's also a defense mechanism, because we have had too many situations where women have been married to men, and back in the day when they didn't have the same amount, they didn't have as many rights as women do today. They were married to these men who were abusive, physically, sexually, mentally, psychologically. You're getting your ass beat on a daily basis. The children are getting their asses beat. And then when that man is done with you, he goes and gets a divorce or doesn't want anything to do with you and leaves. And then because you didn't have a job, a career, you wasn't independent, you're screwed over. Now you're sitting up here fighting for alimony and child support and all this other stuff, where that has happened so many times to women. So now we have that defense mechanism in the black community, where so many black women are being told you should never depend on a man, because when he is good and ready to dip, guess what? You're going to be on your own. And that has happened too many times. So I see why a lot of women have kind of, you better being safe than sorry. And this is what I will say. I don't care what your gender or sexuality is. I do believe that everyone should have their own nesting egg, okay? Because in my opinion, with the way things are going in today's society and has been going, I would rather be safe than sorry. I would rather be sitting up thinking, I would rather have my own money, my own account, than to be sitting up thinking everything is smooth with our relationship, and then all of a sudden Tyler Perry's Diary of a Mad Black Woman is your reality. You thought you was in a loving relationship and then you got screwed over and now you're broke and destitute because you didn't have any money and you didn't really bring any finances to the relationship. So that's just my personal take. However, if you are blessed, lucky, privileged enough to meet somebody where you can play the feminine role and, you know, you don't have to worry about working and they're giving you everything that you need financially, emotionally, you know, sexually, etc., great. But that's just, to me, honestly, it's not realistic in today's age. People are totally different. And then when you look at the systemic issues, we don't have family wages. Back in the day, Henry Ford of Ford Motor Company introduced the first basically family wage in the sense that you should be able to provide for your family on this wage. And at that time, it was like $5 a day because the idea was you should be able to buy what you're making. Where fast forward today, we don't have family wages. We don't even have living wages. So how do you expect a man to care and provide for you when he's trying to care and provide for himself? Same thing. How do you expect a woman to care and provide for you when she has to care and provide for herself? We don't make enough money anymore for one person to just sit at home all damn day. We don't. And that's just being realistic. The wages are low and stagnant. Then it also brings back to what Chloe mentioned. At the same time, I get where she's coming from. Why are you even trying to date and be in relationships when you are not financially stable in the first place? Why are you trying to date and be in relationships when you're not mentally stable? Black people, that's a real question. Because this happens a lot. Like, people rush to get into these relationships, yet they don't have their lives in check. So you're coming in empty-handed. And that's what I'm saying. Like, a lot of times you do need to get your life together. Now, when it comes to the LGBTQ plus community, we have totally different relationships. Because again, we're not man and woman, if you will, right? Like, that's not our reality. Now, there are LGBTQ plus people that basically have traditional relationship values and gender roles, even though it's the same gender, but they still have some traditional gender roles. And then there's others where it's like, you do what you're good at. You know, we 50-50 with it. You have that. And then they also have dysfunctional, toxic, abusive relationships, just like heterosexuals. Okay? Just like cisgendered heterosexual couples. But I do think a lot of what Chloe is saying is true, especially when she talks about stop dating potential and start looking at reality. Because a lot of us, regardless of gender and sexuality, we will sit up and give people the benefit of the doubt when they don't deserve it. You literally sitting up here talking about he, she, they have potential when he, she, they is an adult. I'm 27 and a half. I'm sorry, but we're over potential. That would have been cute 10 years ago when we was 17. Not today. Not today. We too old to be sitting up talking about the same shit. And I think a lot of people need to, this is going to be a long video. That needs to be brought up too. Okay? You can't be talking to somebody that, you know, they're still living in this pipe dream mess. Like, everything that they're talking about is pipe dream. And a lot of us can relate to that. You know, we've all been in those situations where you got dreams and aspirations and whatnot, and this is what you're working on, which is fine. But after a certain age, these pipe dreams should have became realities already. Like, your goals need to be implemented. You know?